Okay, well, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mangg. And I have yet another brunch in me, and so that means it's time for our weekly Hanging with Mangg. Playing Dark Souls today because I did finish Shadow of Mordor, and there wasn't really anything else I could do there except, you know, more screwing around, and I already did enough Hanging with Manggs with Shadow of Mordor, so I felt like playing this too. I have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today, I'll tell you. It's going to be a packed episode. Sit back, get ready. So I can talk about stuff for the YouTubes first. Alien Isolation is pretty much done with. Not that that was a bad game. It definitely started out slower than I probably would have wanted because I was not planning on finishing it, and so I kind of wanted to get more, you know, action-packed stuff or more tense stuff at least going on at the start, so I could show that. But with October coming to a close and me not really crazy about horror games as it is, I gotta move on and make time for other stuff. And the other stuff is going to be a new Let's Play starting on Tuesday. There are two games coming out on Tuesday, both of which I was interested in. So I took it to Twitter, as one does nowadays. And I asked the peeps on the Twitters if I should play through Lords of the Fallen or Sunset Overdrive. And I got 2 responses, which is 2 more than I figured I would. And they both said Lords, so that is what I will be playing through. I'll probably still get Sunset Overdrive. I don't know if I'll get it on Tuesday, but I'll get it soon. I just don't know if I'll LP it. It will probably be on a Hanging with Mangg episode when I get it, because it does look like a lot of fun. So yeah, I'll be starting Lords of the Fallen on Tuesday, which is kind of a Souls-esque game, you might say. It's kind of got that difficulty going on, although apparently not as much. And it's got that kind of same tactical third-person combat going on. And so I watched Epic Namebro's little preview of it, and he didn't shit all over it, so that's good. I just realized I've been through all here already. Yeah, I remember. Wasn't I fighting the gargoyles or something? Or didn't I don't... What am I doing? So yeah, Lords of the Fallen will start out. That should be fun, you know. We'll see. You can't play a female. You can't play a female in that game. You can only play as a male character, because apparently nowadays it's too much animation work to make female character models. So I won't be able to make Taco Bitch in that game. Damn. So that's kind of a bummer already. But I hear the magic system isn't that stellar as it is, so I guess it's okay. I have the Mangg's movie of the year, you know, my one per year coming up. That will be released on Friday, Halloween. So you can look forward to that, I guess. Yeah, not much else to say about it. I saw that they made Wrong Turn 6. They made another Wrong Turn movie, and I was going to watch it, and then I was like, if I watch this, I would have to make a Mangg's movie of it, and I don't want to do that. So I know that kind of bums you out to hear such things, but that's how it is. I also, if you notice, started a run-through of Arkham Horror. And so this is going to tie into our board game discussion. But that was just kind of a thing. I'm not sure what really spurred me on to do that. Because, I guess it's because, well, I mean, I'm into the whole board game scene. And, you know, there are plenty of people that do walkthroughs of games and run-throughs and stuff. Rado runs through. He's pretty much the king of that right now. He does a lot of games. And so I was like, you know what? I'll throw my hand in there. See how it is. See how my fans feel about it. And so far, feedback has been all right. So I guess that's good. I should mention though, Arkham Horror. If you're looking to get into board games, I wouldn't recommend Arkham Horror as one of your first games. Nothing against Arkham Horror, but there are just so many better gateway games than Arkham Horror. Even Eldritch Horror is a better gateway game, and I probably wouldn't even recommend that right away. You know, I don't love them myself, but, you know, games like Ticket to Ride, Settlers of Catan, Carcassonne, or games like Pandemic, the new one that just came out, Machikoro. I mean, these are all solid games. Just put your toes in the water of board gaming. So, you know, I picked Arkham Horror because it is a solo game, so I can play through it on my own, and it's a horror game, so it's, you know, it's October, that fit, and it's a game that I know pretty well. Like, I've played it. I guess I've played it more than any other game in my collection, unless you count like Coup and Love Letter, but that, I mean, those are just little games. So yeah, I mean, I definitely want to show off a bunch of different games. Like, I want to show you guys Cosmic Encounter, and I want to show you Dead of Winter and stuff like that, but there's most games you can't really play by yourself. You know, they're not solo games. So it's kind of like I either have to do something like Rado, where I just have to kind of go over as like an overview of how the game plays, like give you like an impression of how it plays rather than playing it. But that just doesn't work for something like Cosmic Encounter. Like, you'll never get a feel for it. Well, you'll never get a true feel for it until you play it, but you get a better feel of it if you see a group play it. So, I don't know, I might try and record our group playing some games. You know, something like Cosmic Encounter. Like, I might record us playing, and then I might also record myself just going over as like an overview of the rules, so you understand everything, and then I'll just put that before the playthrough, so you know what's all going on. That probably is a big help, rather than going through the rules while we're playing, because that just would, you know, that's just bothering my group then. But, you know, there's a wide world of amazing board gaming experiences out there, and so, you know, I can talk about them all day, but it's different seeing them played and playing them. I really feel like I killed the gargoyles. I guess there's an easy way to find out. I want to say no, I didn't kill the gargoyles. No, I think I attempted to. So yeah, I might try that. We'll see. I mean, as far as other solo games I can run through, I can do Arkham, I can do Eldritch, I can do Mage Knight, although that would probably be pretty lengthy of a rules explanation. And that's pretty much it as far as solo games that I own. It's not an incredibly popular niche. Okay, so as far as board games I've played this week, I played a bunch of Dominion with my mom. She really freaking loves that game, man. Like, she lives for that game. And I think it's good. I do like Dominion. I think, you know, the mechanic that Donald Vaccarino came up with there is stellar. But I agree with the critics where it's just kind of like... kind of multiplayer solitaire, you know? Because, you know... my mom and I will be sitting there playing a 2-player Dominion game. And if we didn't, like, announce our turns and everything we were doing on our turns, it would pretty much be an entirely silent game. There would be no conversation. I mean, there would probably be a little bit of chatter, but nothing compared to, you know, cosmic encounters. And not every game needs to be that. But, you know, there's really not any interaction going on in the base game of Dominion. At least as far as I've experienced. So, I'm probably going to pick up the Intrigue set for Christmas or something like that. Because I hear that is pretty important to add to Dominion. God, what am I doing? So yeah, I played a bunch of that. Then Friday. Oh. When was that? Oh, that may have been Tuesday. Tuesday, I tried out X-Wing, the X-Wing miniatures game. With Ziggy. I had him come over. We tried out X-Wing 1 versus 1. And I only had the core set, so it was just 2 TIE fighters versus 1 X-Wing. And it was a freaking blast. Like, I was really surprised at how fun it was. Because it seems so stupid, right? It just seems like you're just pushing around miniatures on a table. And you're occasionally rolling dice. And hoping that, you know, they land in the correct configurement. And, but we put on, like, you know, the Star Wars music from some of the space battles, the dogfights, and you just feel like a fucking admiral with how tactical it gets, and you're trying to predict the exact maneuvers that the enemy is planning, and you need to get in the right position, and then you're rolling the dice, and the sweat's just running down your face, because your shields are down, and your hull's damaged, you're about to just blow up. You just need to take care of these 2 TIE fighters. You're just some rookie pilot out in the middle of an asteroid field. It's just like, oh god. And man, it was amazing. And I actually won. I played the solitary X-Wing rookie pilot against the 2 TIE fighters. And I came out victorious because of superior maneuverability. That's probably not true. It's because I have shields and the TIE fighters do not. But yeah, we got hooked immediately. We're just like, we need more. We need more ships. We need to spend money now. And so I immediately ordered another core set and like the Rebel Aces and the Imperial Aces or whatever sets. And so we gotta get, and I ordered an extra, well, I ordered an E-Wing as a side thing. And then, so we're pretty set. And so we tell Mert, we're like, hey Mert, this X-Wing thing is pretty sweet. You gotta try it out sometime. And so I figured, you know, Mert's the kind of guy that if he gets into something, he'll spend money on it. He will spend money on it. So I was like, if we get Mert to play this, you know, he'll help supply our fleets. The next day, Mert posts a picture in our group chat of him driving home with an X-Wing, like, set. Like, I think he bought the Rebel Aces. And I'm like, you haven't even played the damn game. He's like, I'll like it. Like, yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. You're gonna like it, but it was funny. So we have, let's see, 6, 8, 10. I have 11 ships, 6 Empire, 5 Rebel, and then he has 2 more Rebel ships, I think. And yeah, it's a fucking money sink, no doubt about it, but they get to sit on my shelf and look badass, and so it's a better money sink than, like, Magic the Gathering or something, because those just sit in a box. I get awesome miniatures, at least. And so we'll probably, yeah, I mean, if you just buy the core set, it's pretty much 1 versus 1. You can't really do more than that. But now with all these ships, we could maybe do like 2v2 or something like that, and that would be badass. And the one ship that I want to get is the Millennium Falcon, because it looks sweet as hell, because it's the Falcon. Good God. But then you also get cards, because you get, I mean, because every ship can have different stats based on who's piloting it. So for an X-Wing, you know, Luke Skywalker is a much better pilot than a rookie. So the stats are different and the abilities are different. So one of the cards you get for the Millennium Falcon is Lando Calrissian. And so if it were up to me, I would not play X-Wing without Lando in the Falcon. It would just, what it would be every time. So I need to have it, but it's out of print right now. It's coming back. It'll come back, and I will get it. I need that shit on my shelf. So yeah, X-Wing, good stuff. Friday then, I had kind of a family game night with my sister, my brother-in-law, and my mom. And so these are kind of, these are newish gamers, you know. This is where you bust out the gateway games. Because a while back, when the only game I really owned was Arkham Horror, I brought that out for like Christmas and played with my family, and it was a disaster. And I was just so naive and ignorant. Don't be like me. There are better games to play with your family than Arkham Horror. And Eldritch Horror I even played, and that was a disaster. It was just not good. Just get Cash and Guns or something. So anyways, I was like, alright, gateway games, what do I got? Look at my shelf, this is why I buy this shit. So I brought along Love Letter as just the first one, right out the gate. This is, I mean, it's simple, easy to understand, it's quick, this is what you need. So Love Letter. Then I brought Machikoro, which is a relatively new game. And I haven't played Machikoro yet, but I went through the rules. Very easy to understand. So I figured they'd pick that up. This is kind of like, it's kind of like Settlers of Catan a little bit, with how you roll dice and you know, each player benefits perhaps from other people's dice rolls and stuff like that, and you keep going around and you build your shit up. So I figured, alright, that could be good. It's colorful, it's easy, good. I then brought Skull. And I brought Skull because I wanted some type of bluffing game. Bluffing games are very big in the gaming world now. So I wanted some kind of introduction to that where you're doing a little bit of line and you don't feel bad about it. And so Skull is not, you know, as bluffy as something like the Resistance. You're not like sitting there and you're saying, "Oh, I put down a flower." I mean, you can do that kind of bluffing, but really, Skull is generally kind of a quiet game for the most part. But it's kind of like poker, and I would rather play Skull than poker. And then finally, I brought Forbidden Desert because I wanted a cooperative game. And so it was either Forbidden Desert, Pandemic, or Hanabi. And I was like, well, I got a bunch of card games here for the most part. So I want something that's kind of a bit more tangible than Hanabi. And I figured Pandemic might be a bit too much right away as their first co-op. So Forbidden Desert, real simple, real light, I'll bring it. And so we started off with Love Letter. They all picked it up pretty quickly. You know, there's the usual newbie problems where they lay down the guard and they say, "I think Mangg has a guard." And we're like, yeah, no, that's not how it works. Love Letter would be a lot easier if that's how it worked. But it goes quick. I mean, the problem with Love Letter is there's really no skill. Like, literally, we played 4 games, everybody won once. And then we played a 5th game, and I don't remember who broke the tie. Because it's just like, it's kind of a crapshoot with Love Letter. And it's not meant to be a serious game, so. It's just light and enjoyable. So that was their quick primer into the world of designer games. So it's like, alright, let's step it up now, let's get into the meat of this. And I busted out Machikoro. And I sleeved all the cards for Machikoro, so that was their first introduction to sleeved cards. My sister was just like, it came like this? I've never seen this before. I'm like, no, that's just, I did that. Sleeved cards are interesting. And the way Machikoro works is it's kind of like Catan meets Dominion-esque, I suppose. There's a pool of cards in the middle. And you spend money to buy cards and add them to your town. And each card gives a benefit based on the dice that's rolled. So if you have a ranch, which has a number 2, anytime anybody rolls a 2 on their dice, you get a coin. You get $1. And so some of them, like the wheat field, the forest, the mine, stuff like that, they will give you a benefit. They'll give you money on anybody's turn when they roll the dice. Some of them will only give you a benefit when you roll the number on the dice on your turn. And so those usually are higher benefits. They're usually better, but obviously that only happens, you know, on your turn, and so it's a bit more of a crapshoot. Then there's a couple of cards that let you steal money based on who rolled the die. And then there's a few that do kind of different effects. And so, you know, all the info is just printed on the cards. It's a real easy mechanic. You roll the dice, you collect any money, you buy a card, next person. And they picked up on it pretty quickly. You know, a bit longer than Love Letter until they finally were rolling. And we played a couple games of this. And it was definitely enjoyable. It's not really my type of game because it's pretty light. You know, I've mentioned that I don't really care for incredibly light games, of which this is one. There's not an incredible amount of strategy. Like, once you realize how good the cafe is because you just steal money from other people, like, it's ridiculous. If the dice are in your favor and you have a bunch of cafes, you'll like never lose because you will just keep taking money, and it's ridiculous. Cafes and like the family restaurant, and so there's not a great variety in strategy. I hear that the expansion is going to fix this, the Harbor expansion, by adding a bunch of new cards. We'll see. I'll probably pick it up because I do like how Machikoro is. I'm parched as shit, but I got to keep talking. So yeah, Machikoro is good. My brother-in-law really liked that game. So I think he'll like Splendor if we ever get around to it. Then we played Skull. And I was curious how this was going to go over, because my brother-in-law, he's the kind of guy that'll play poker a bunch. You know, he'll play poker, sheep's head, stuff like that. He's, you know, not really bluffing, but having like a poker face and stuff like that. That's no problem for him. But my mom and my sister are not that type of person at all. So I was curious how this would go over. And Skull is just another real easy to learn game. There's not too many rules. And once you get how it flows, it goes real quick. And it went over well. I don't think my sister loved it because she was just not really a bluffer too much. But she was a better bluffer than my mom. Like, my mom's terrible. Like, lying is just like, why would you ever lie? That's terrible, you know? So, you pretty much read her face like a book when she puts down a tile, but it's a good game. I like Skull. I probably like Coup a bit more. So I'll probably introduce Coup sometime to them. Especially Coup with the expansion, because it's meatier. Oh, that resin's pretty good. There you go. Bust out that gold pine resin, baby. Alright, they should be relatively simple. And then finally we moved on to Forbidden Desert. And I was worried about this one because most co-op games have a problem with quarterbacking, where one player kind of controls everybody else. And so I have a bunch of newbies here. I'm not a newbie at this game or games in general. So, and I have a quarterbacking personality. So I was worried. I maybe should have just sat out and let them handle it, but they probably wouldn't have allowed it. And this game did not go over great because Forbidden Desert and Forbidden Island, I'm pretty sure, allow for player elimination. So a player can just get knocked out of the game. And that's what happened to my sister relatively quickly. And so that was a big bummer for her. And then it was pretty much me just kind of telling the others what to do, because if you have that kind of personality, that quarterbacking personality, it's just like, well, I mean, we want to win, so just, you know, listen to what I have to say. I know how to play, you know? Like, this is co-op, we're all winning together. So yeah, it just wasn't great. And then my mom and my brother-in-law got knocked out eventually, and I finished the game myself. I beat the game on my own. A 4-player game, the storm level was at like 5, and I beat it myself. It was just like, well, we won. Yeah, it was not great. My mom was not too happy about that, because we had played it as a 2-player game, and she really liked it. For a little while, that was like her favorite game until she played other games, which is kind of how it goes. But she was just not happy with how it played with 4 people in that situation. And that's kind of how games can be, you know. You can play a game with one group and it's a disaster, and play a game with the same game with a different group and it's just like, wow, this is like the best game ever. I'm sure Cosmic Encounter can very much be like that. And so that was the family game night. Overall, it went pretty well. I think they were, I mean, it didn't end on a great note, but I think they were excited to play some more games. And so that's what we did the very next day. We had them over at our house, and we played more games. My mom insisted that I teach them Dominion, because she just loves Dominion. Which is just fun. Like, this is the woman that used to play, like, Yahtzee and Uno, and just think, these are great games. Like, Dominion! So... I forgot the stats that I needed to get the Great Scythe. I think it was like 25 or something. So I taught them Dominion. And we played a bunch of Dominion. We played like 4 hours of Dominion or something like that. Even though we played 3 games. That's not how it goes. Once you learn what you're doing, it goes a lot quicker. And, I don't think they were nuts about it. They preferred Machi Koro. And I don't, it was just, maybe it was like one of those things where it was just kind of the environment. Like, we had a bunch of kids running around and bugging them the whole time, and my sister was really just multitasking and busy, so she lost pretty much every time. And so it didn't flow well. And my brother-in-law got like, he bottomed out every single game. That he did terribly, and that's definitely a big factor in your enjoyment of a game, which is, I mean, again, I keep talking about, but Cosmic Encounter is just really brilliant, because really in Cosmic Encounter I don't care if I win. Wasn't I supposed to get a key from something, or am I dumb? What did I get for killing the guard? Wasn't I supposed to do something? Alright, don't I get the key to go? What am I doing? Cosmic Encounter is really brilliant because I don't really care if I win. I just enjoy playing. Like, it's such an experience while you're in it, you know? Because you never feel just like you're getting the shit kicked out of you. Because the Destiny deck is just, you know, impartial. And you can be involved in every turn. You're not really, I mean, you're generally not waiting around. Like Dominion with 4 people, so much as you just kind of sitting there waiting for the other people to go. You hope that everybody's pretty quick, but sometimes that's not the case, and you're just kind of like sitting there. Whereas Cosmic Encounter, you're always so interested in what's going on. It's always so entertaining just witnessing this spectacle. And so, yeah, Dominion didn't go over great for them. My mom won like 2 out of the 3 games. And she was only there for 2 out of the 3 games. So she won both her games, and she was just like, I'm not sure if I'm ever gonna beat her at Dominion now. Like, she's a savant at it or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous. She loves it though. And so then we tried out Sushi Go, because I wanted a light filler game before we moved on to anything heavier. So we played Sushi Go, which is a very light card drafting game. And it's basically like a primer before you get into 7 Wonders, which takes the card drafting and expands on it quite a bit. And so Sushi Go, I won because I knew how to play, which is kind of an advantage. I mean, they weren't crazy about it, but I think it was alright. You know, it's just a quick little filler game between games and stuff like that, or to get the night started. I like it. I mean, I probably like Seven Wonders more. I've yet to play it, but because you know it's heavier. But it's not terrible. It's very cute. Kids can play it. I mean, yeah, I could easily see 8, 9-year-olds playing Sushi Go. Maybe not winning, depending on what the kids like, but sure. And so then we were debating about what to play for our final game. I kind of wanted to play Splendor. They were like, well, we could play that Machikoro game. Although they never said they could never remember it. They said Mushi Mushi like every time, and I was like, it's not what it's called. But they were like, whatever I want to play is fine. And so I was like, I'm gonna go downstairs, and whatever I come back up with is what we're gonna play. And they were like, okay. So I go down to my big shelf. I look it over. I look at all the stuff we could try out. And I grabbed For Sale. Which is a... Yeah, it's a filler game. You'd say it's a filler game. I'd say it's a bit more involved than something like Love Letter. But what isn't, you know? And Tom Vassell had talked about it a bunch. And so I had picked it up quite a while ago. It was one of the first games I bought when I started collecting all this a few months ago or whatever, a couple months ago. And so I had been waiting to kind of see how it played out, and so I grabbed it, taught them the rules pretty quickly, simple game, and we played a couple games of it. I think we played like 3 games of it. It went over pretty well. Everybody liked it. All the cards, all the property cards just have great, cute little pictures on them. It's simple to understand. I really liked For Sale. I can definitely recommend that. More so than Sushi Go. And that was pretty much that. That was our other family game night. And so it was, you know, kind of slowly expanding on what they know and what they can handle. And so I'm like, you know, we'll get you guys playing the Game of Thrones board game soon enough. And so that's that. Which is good. As far as games that I bought, besides the X-Wing stuff, I also bought the new Power Grid Deluxe version. Because Power Grid is like top 10 on Board Game Geek. I knew it was a big deal. Everybody, you know, a lot of people like Power Grid. It's been around for a while. It's locked. How the hell do I open this? Why am I so dumb? I rang the bell. I definitely did. Does that not give you a key anymore? Where's the key at? How can I forget this? Like, seriously, I don't remember. It doesn't matter. We're just talking. It doesn't matter. So I bought the new Power Grid Deluxe, which just came out. And so I paid a pretty penny for it. But I'm like, you know, if I'm going to get Power Grid, I can either save 20 bucks and get the old boring version, or get the new cool deluxe version. And I'm all about Cult of the New, so I had to get it. And I mean, I can't compare it to Power Grid, the original. I don't know. But this, I mean, it definitely looks pretty damn deluxe. The box is pretty gigantic, and the only reason the box is gigantic is because of the board. The board is very big, and it's a double-sided board. One is of North America, and that includes the USA, Canada, and South America. Big-ass board. And then the other side is Europe. And, you know, it's not like gorgeous, realistic depictions or anything like that. It's kind of just color-coded stuff, but it's a big-ass board, and it looks good. Although, for some reason, Essen isn't included as a city on the Europe side. Like, every board game that has a map of Europe includes Essen, because that's just you know, Essen's the capital of board games. Like, what the hell? I was very surprised. But yeah, it looks good. I went through I learned the rules. I like to teach myself rules. And it's just kind of seemed like a elegant design with how it works. I could see potential for a lot of strategy, not just like basic, you know, what do I buy here, what do I buy there, but like every step, every phase of the game seemed to involve a lot of strategy. You know, in you know, which power plants you're going to auction for, how much you're going to auction for, when you're going to pass, you know, where you're building your generators, and what you're buying for resources, and then which power plants you're actually going to decide to run this turn, and or decide to just hold off. And you know, there's a lot of strategy involved in that game, and that's why I picked it up, because I wanted a heavy strategic kind of mathy game, and Power Grid seems to be the definitive game for that. Okay, let me just fucking think now. What am I missing? You go, you kill the gargoyles, you ring the bell. But ringing the bell doesn't do anything, because you need to ring both bells, and the other bell is in Blighttown, which is through the depths, which is through the lower Undead Burg, which is through there by the bridge. But the bridge key is... I don't know. I don't know where the bridge key is. It's completely... I'm dumb. I'm really dumb. So I guess we're just going to try and jump down there like the old days. So yeah. I'll try out Power Grid sometime. We'll let you guys know. Alright, so let's talk about what I'm sure everybody's waiting for. The girls portion of the Board Gaming Girls show. And I got stuff to talk about there, believe you me. So when we left off last Sunday, I said that my buddy's girlfriend was going to talk to this chick, tell her I'm interested, blah, blah, blah. Well, they had a conversation. They did. My buddy was there. The other roommate was there that didn't like me. Everybody was there in this awkward conversation. And apparently... the conversation kind of fizzled out quickly. Like, they didn't really get an answer from her on whether, you know, she was also interested. And, yeah, it didn't really go anywhere. My buddy was short on details, but he said it didn't look great. I was like, okay. And so then my other buddy from California sent me... He sent me advanced screening tickets for John Wick on Wednesday. For Wednesday. He sent it on Monday. And, like, he for some reason, through his work or something like that, he gets these promotions. And, but he's in California now, so he can't go to them. So he sends them to me. And John Wick looks amazing. I was like, oh man. And it's for two. It was for two people. I was like, alright, this has got to be it. And so I texted my buddy. I told him to tell his sister to tell Katie that I got these advanced screening tickets. Need somebody to go with me. How about you? And so took him a day to get a response, and I heard back, and she's not interested in me. Not, I mean, maybe she's interested in the movie, I don't know, but not so much in the me part. And so I was just like, all right, fair enough. Move on. So I didn't get to go see John Wick on Wednesday. And, yeah, you know, it is what it is. It wasn't a great situation to work off of, because I kind of screwed myself when I first met her and all that kind of stuff, so I guess it is what it is. And it's, you know, it's funny, like, the old me, like an older, like, a younger version of me would have said, oh, I guess it was just, you know, it was meant to be then, you know, that's just how it is. I'm much more logical in my older age now, and so I realize now that I was just a dumbass and I screwed up our first meeting, and it could have worked out if I wasn't a dumbass. So I'm much more calculating now than I used to be. Fudge. So I signed up for Tinder upon my buddy's recommendation, because that's where he met his girlfriend. And so Tinder, let's talk about this now. If you don't know what a Tinder is, it's a mobile dating app. So you sign up, you link it to your Facebook, so it draws some pictures from your Facebook. And then you set the age range and the distance range, so it takes, you know, GPS and stuff like that from your phone. It's circle. I keep putting left thumbstick. I'm so dumb. Age range, just GPS range, and then, you know, men, women, or both. And then it gathers up everybody within your criteria that is on Tinder, and then you go through them. There we go. And by go through them, I'm gonna die. Oh, maybe not. By go through them, I mean that you look at their picture. You look at their picture, and then you either swipe left on your phone if you don't like them, or you swipe right if you do like them. And you go on to the next one. And that's it. Now, you can also... Yeah, that didn't actually prove much. I needed to go up and open the door so I can do this faster. But, you can check for more info and look at all their pictures, and then they can also put in, like, a little description. Up to 500 words, but nobody ever does 500 words. It's usually, like, 5 sentences at most. And that's it. That's Tinder. And then if you like a person, it doesn't do anything. It's just you move on to the next one. They don't get any notification, nothing like that. And then when that person goes through their list and keeps swiping and swiping and swiping, they might come to your profile. And again, there's no notification that this person liked you or anything like that. You don't know. But if you also like their page, so there is a mutual liking going on, then it tells you that you have a match. And then you're allowed to message each other. You're not allowed to message unless you have a match. And that's it. That is Tinder. Now, Tinder, I believe, originally started as kind of just a hookup thing. You know, one-night stand, stuff like that, kind of sleazy. It's moved on a bit from that. You know, regular people, such as myself, have discovered that, you know, just being able to just look at a person's picture or something like that is a lot easier than trying to get out there and meet people. And it's not as cumbersome as a traditional online dating. You know, it's real quick, and it's just, oh, I got a match, let's chat, blah, blah, blah. And so I started up on Tinder. I was like, my buddy's like, yeah, I was pretty picky when I started. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna be picky. I think even I didn't expect how picky I was going to be. I was very picky. As in, I went through maybe 100 girls before I finally liked one. And, so yeah, it was... I need to open the damn door! Ah! Just open the door. So dumb. I was very picky. And then it was probably another one in 200, and I was being an asshole. I felt like a terrible person. I'm not ashamed to admit it. I would be ashamed if I repeated the things that I said in my head when I went through these girls' profiles. Because I was a dick. That's what I was. Because, I mean, as it is, it's an incredibly shallow thing. It can't not be. Like, generally, most human beings, just by design, are shallow in some form. You know, aesthetics are just important to our brains. Is how it is. So then you have Tinder, where that's pretty much what you get, is aesthetics. You get to look at them and then decide if you're interested or not. Because a lot of girls will have no description. You don't know anything really about them. So it's already based on aesthetics. But then I would kind of psychoanalyze their pictures. And I would get kind of in depth. Like, I would look at what's going on in all their pictures. And try to analyze what type of person this was. And so, eventually, if I looked at anybody's picture long enough, I would just decide I didn't like them. Based on some criteria that I just probably made up in my head. I was terrible. I'll admit it. And so, I didn't get any matches. No matches for a while. And then I think on Saturday. Yeah. So yesterday. Well, actually, Friday. Friday night, I was talking to another guy about this Tinder stuff. He started doing it as well. I told him how picky I was and how I kind of, looked at all these pictures in depth and stuff. He's like, no, you can't do that, man. Don't do that. You got to make snap judgments. That's why they have the swipe system. It's like you just look at their picture, you either like it or you don't. Go. Just snap judgment. I was like, all right, I'll try. And so I started doing it. And I just, boom, snap judgment. Look at it for 3 seconds, move on. Because apparently, scientists say that you've decided within like 50 milliseconds of seeing somebody's face if you like them or not. So, all right, I'll try it. So I started doing that. The next day, actually the next morning. Oh, that was dumb. I was swiping through. I liked some girl's picture. And 5 minutes later, I got a match, and it was that chick. I was like, what? That seemed pretty quick. And so I messaged her. I had added to my little description. My description was, if you're curious, I'm not ashamed to tell you my Tinder description. I put likes, horror movies, cats. And I put dislikes, horror movies about cats. And then later I added, je parle un petit peu le français. Which is, I speak a little bit of French. Because I figured bitches love French. So that should help. And so I messaged the girl, I just messaged like, bonjour, or something like that. And I got a response, and I was like, oh, okay. And it was, her response was like, so, we got a match, what does that mean? I'm so confused, LOL. I was just like, well, I was like, you're my first match too. It just means that we both liked each other's profiles. And so she messaged back and she was like, oh, okay, so are you like a serial... Oh, she was like, sorry to be naive, I'm new to this. Are you like a serial social dater or something? It was something like that. And I was like, no, I just started a few days ago because of my buddy. And so then she responded, she's like, well, there's too many guys on here, and I don't like online dating, so text me at this number. I'm like, this does not seem like protocol. But I was like, well, you know, I'm getting responses. My first match. I guess I can text this girl. And I messaged that to my buddy, and he's like, oh, nice, man. And I'm like, okay. So I texted her. She responded. And she's just like, I don't really like online dating and talking online, so thanks for texting me. And I texted back, and I was like, no, it's cool. And then I was like, so are you in school or something? Or anything like that? And then I got a text from a different number. It actually wasn't even a number, it was like an email. I don't know how that worked. Some sort of system in which you can text from an email. And, yeah, it was a picture. And, it wasn't a good church-going picture, I'll tell you that. It wasn't that bad. I mean, I've seen things. It was pretty much just a girl on a bed in a thong, and, you couldn't see her face. And it came with some text that was like, I don't have any pictures on my phone, but I have some on my email. XOXO. And I was like, what is going on? And at this point, I was like, this is suspect now. A few details niggled in my brain. For one, all of the girls' responses didn't seem canned. They didn't seem fake. But none of them correlated really to what I said. Like, upon carefully rereading them, it's a very clever script, don't get me wrong. It worked. I mean, it worked on me. I believed it. But none of it really was like, it was just generic, kind of. It's like, oh, I'm naive, I'm new to this, thanks for texting me, blah, blah, blah. None of it really equated to whatever I was saying. The fact that I got, you know, a sext, like, a minute after I texted the girl, that was a big hint. And then I looked up the area code for the number she gave, and it's from Delaware, which is not really anywhere near me. I was like, oh, okay, well, this is, you know, a bot or something. Which is, I mean, I knew they were on Tinder. I'm not shocked. But I was just like, what was the end goal? Because a couple of my buddies that just use Tinder to screw around, you know, for fun, they go through and they like every single profile. They just go as quickly as possible and they swipe right for everything. And they get, you know, they get a lot of matches, but a lot of it is just fake bullshit or prostitutes. And so they get messages from prostitutes that are like, girlfriend experience for 120 or something, like 120 roses. And nobody knows how much that is. That's such an abstract number. But that's besides the point. And so, that's like, okay, you know, prostitutes and escorts are using this service. And I don't blame them. It's brilliant. But they're trying to get something out of it. Whereas this was just like, she didn't advertise anything. She was just messaging as if she were a real person, and then I got a naked picture. Or semi-naked at least. And that was it. She never responded to the "Are you going to school or something" text. I got no more pictures. Bummer. And that's it. It's over with. So I don't. Maybe that picture was like a virus or something. Does that exist? If anybody knows, do I have a virus on my phone? Because I mean, I looked at it. I definitely looked at the picture a few times. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. And I was like, when the girl was messaging me and I got the match and stuff like that, I was like, man, maybe I'm finally gonna have a positive story for hanging with Mangg this week. Damn. No. Nice try. So, you know, I'm using that. I am using the new snap judgment method of Tinder. So I'm liking a lot of girls, and my standards are slowly going down. So I'm liking girls that I definitely wouldn't have liked in the early days, and you know, I'm still liking the ridiculously hot girls, even though I know they won't match. But I'm also liking, you know, just the kind of girl next door, semi-cute girls, because I figure that's more my range. Maybe a bit hopeful there. I don't want a girlfriend just for the sake of having a girlfriend, or the sake of telling stories. But, you know, whatever, you know, we'll see. We'll see. That's what it is. We'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I don't know how many crazy stories I'm gonna get out of Tinder, because it's either really just regular girls or, you know, prostitutes, and you're gonna know they're a prostitute. Come on. Well, fine. I guess it's a fine endpoint. We've gone over an hour now. I don't really have much else to say. I think that was about it. Other than, you know, my buddy almost getting stabbed at Applebee's parking lot, but that's not a story I need to tell, so it's fine. Alright, I am thirsty, and we crossed the hour mark, so we're gonna end off here. Board games and girls were discussed. Mission accomplished. So my name is Mangg. This has been Hanging with Mangg. We'll see you fine folks next week.